We often think of the creation of the universe as, well, chaotic, right? A big, messy event. But what if it wasn't? What if it was all part of a plan? A cosmic blueprint, hidden away in the ancient verses of the Vedas.
Yeah, you heard that right. This interpretation suggests that what we've always thought of as religious hymns might actually be a kind of step-by-step manual for building a universe. So how on earth could that even work?
Well, our guide for this journey is a text called the VVA, and it completely flips the script on the Vedas. It makes this bold claim that they're not just about prayer, they're about physics. They describe the actual physical process of creation. So let's dive in.
Okay, so if we're going to understand this blueprint, we've got to learn the language, right? We have to crack the code. And according to this theory, it all boils down to two really important ideas. Two concepts that supposedly turn simple words into cosmic action.
First up, you've got the richa. Now, that's the Sanskrit word for a Vedic hymn. But in this view, a richa is not a prayer. Think of it more like a line of code, a specific instruction you'd give to the universe's operating system. But, a line of code is useless unless you hit enter, right? So how is that code actually executed?
Aha, that is where chanda comes in. The chanda is the rhythm, the meter of the hymn. It's specific vibration. It's like the carrier wave. The richa is the message, but the chanda is the physical vibration that takes that command and actually makes something happen in the cosmos. It's the enter key.
All right, so we've got our language. Coded instructions carried on specific vibrations. With that in our back pocket, where does the story of creation actually begin? Well, it starts with the raw material, the clay from which everything is sculpted.
This starting point is called the Hiranyagarbha. Just picture it, a massive, formless, primordial cloud. It's just hanging there in the void, made of these super subtle particles. It is the ultimate blank canvas, and the entire cosmos is about to be painted on it.
So, how do you go from a formless cloud to a beautifully ordered universe? Well, this blueprint lays out a kind of cosmic sculpting process. It says there are 4 distinct forces, each coming from one of the cardinal directions, and they're the ones that are going to shape this raw material. So here's the game plan. It starts with a little nudge, a movement from the east. Then things heat up, literally, with intense heat from the south. Next, a cooling wind blows in from the west. And finally, a jolt of electricity comes from the north. Let's break that down.
Okay, step 1. It all starts in the east. A force begins to stir the cloud, creating this controlled, organized movement. And the source is really clear on this. This is not chaos. It's a very specific, rule-based disturbance that gets the whole cosmic engine started.
Now, as that organized wave of motion spreads to the southern region of the cloud, its energy totally transforms. It generates this incredible, intense heat. The text calls it ushma, creating a massive thermal disturbance. Things are really heating up. But you can't just have runaway heat, right? So, to balance all that out, a totally different kind of force shows up, this time from the west. It's a cooling, calming influence, which the text identifies with the Vedic deity Soma. And this is key. It's not just about turning down the thermostat, it's about bringing control to the system. And get this, the text claims it knows the exact line of code for this part of the process. It points to this verse in the Rig Veda, which is interpreted as the actual command that summons this cooling force, telling it to guide the cosmic flow. So you see the pattern here? The verse isn't just a prayer to a god. It's seen as a description of physics in action. This soma force is literally a cool, slow-moving wind. It calms everything down and, this is super important, it starts to direct the flow of energy and particles inward toward the very center of the cloud. Okay, so the system is cooled, it's controlled. It's time for the final big ingredient, a massive injection of energy. And that comes from the north. This is a force that's associated with the deity Savitar, a name that's all about impulse and power and setting things in motion. And just like before, the source grounds this in a specific hymn. This verse is seen as the command that calls upon Savitar, the one who brings that true creative spark, that driving impulse.
So, following the same logic, this hymn is interpreted as a physical event, the arrival of a powerful, electrically charged wind. Zap! This Savitar force just floods the whole system with immense energy. And, just like the cool winds from the west, this supercharged wind is also directed to flow toward the center of the cosmic cloud.
So let's just pause and picture this. We have 4 massive, distinct cosmic forces, all converging on a single point in space. This is it. This is the climax, the moment the Hiranyagarbha finally awakens.
Let's do a quick recap. From the four corners of the cosmos, we've got four very different forces doing their jobs. One brings order, one brings heat, one brings calm, and one brings energy. And they're all being pulled right to the middle.
So with all of that, the movement, the heat, the cool winds, the electrical charge, all of it pouring into the core of this cloud, the stage is set. It's time for the final and maybe the most crucial activation of all.
This central activation is governed by the deity Aditi. The source explains that Aditi represents a force acting from the center, but pushing upwards and outwards. So all that matter and energy that got pulled into the core, it now rains back out into the cloud, nourishing the outer regions and creating this continuous self-sustaining circulatory system.
And that final step, that outward rain of energy and matter from this newly energized core, that's the magic moment. That's what transforms a primordial cloud into a recognizable cosmos.
And the result is just a total transformation. That once formless cloud, it now has structure and order. It begins to rotate on a fixed axis, creating a stable, self-sustaining system. The perfect cosmic nursery, ready for galaxies, stars, and planets to eventually emerge.
So there you have it, a blueprint for a universe born not from random chaos, but from a precise sequence of coded vibrations. It's a fascinating perspective, and it leaves us with this one last question to chew on. If the universe could be, in a sense, sung into existence, what does that say about the very nature of reality itself?